Merry Christmas, Sega fans, and a happy WinterFest to everyone at RadioSEGA. It's the Sega guys, back with a podcast where a PlayStation under the tree is about as welcome as Hans Gruber. I'm Dan the Mega Drive Me, and here with me is the Christmas nights to my father Christmas. It's James the Segaholic. How you doing, mate?
Now I have a PlayStation. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, I'm very good, mate. Very good on this. Our fourth consecutive appearance on WinterFest. 4, mate. When did we get to 4?
Wow, is it 4? Wow.
Fourth.
Yeah, I love WinterFest though. It's always just great to get involved, and it's just always brilliant for for the Radio Sega guys to put it together. Remember the first time we were on there doing the Capcom show, and
That's right.
To be honest, it never doesn't feel special. It's always, you see the lineup, and they've always got some great shows all lined up. And I think we're going out on our usual slot, so I think this is going up.
Yeah, aye, it's worked out well. The kind of the slots and have all kind of lined up that we're able to get out in our kind of usual time as well, which is great. But aye, as you say, mate, the stuff that the staff at Radio Sega do, Viper, 20, SD, all the usual guys, pulling this together. You look at the announcement tweet. I think it took 4 or 5 tweets from the Radio Sega account to list and tag everybody who's involved. So it is very much a who's who of the community. So aye, it's a pleasure to be involved. And as I say, for the 4th consecutive year now, we're back second time on video as well. So got the snow effects going here as well. Beautiful. I saved them from last year. I've kept them in there. It says keep for WinterFest. That's literally what it says.
It also means that our listeners and our viewers get back-to-back podcasts this time round. So because of the way that Christmas and New Year lands, unfortunately, I don't think anyone wants to listen to us for an hour or two on Christmas Day. And I wouldn't expect the Radio Sega guys to be working Christmas Day or New Year's Day. So this is back-to-back. We had John on last week. This week with our special WinterFest episode, and then we'll have a little break from the podcast, but we'll still be giving you video content over the Christmas period. So don't worry, the Sega guys are still cooking.
Yes, still cooking like Walter White and Jesse. Here's some content, bitch. But the content's still there. Last we checked, we uploaded 3 videos yesterday as well, so a 2-parter on a certain topic and then a very special festive themed game from yourself. So that kind of stuff will just tide us over, because obviously Christmas Day and New Year's Day falls on a Monday. Yeah. So that's why we won't be active. I don't think SD would be too happy if I popped into his Discord DMs and went, "Yeah, mate, there's a podcast, going to stick that out on Christmas Day." I'd be like, "Oh, jog on, mate."
6 o'clock, just as when he's having dinner.
Now he's carving the turkey, and he's like, "Hold on a minute, man. It's just Segaholic messaging me with a link. Get lost." No, but we've got plenty in there. We've got 6 videos. We've got this podcast to add. Got another second part of 16-bit arcade to add. So there's tons of stuff in there, and that's what we like to do. We like to just build it up and have plenty of stuff in there just to keep it going, because the worst thing you can do whenever you're doing this kind of stuff on YouTube is go inactive for 2 weeks. So we'll just keep going, mate. Nobody will notice that we're away.
No, I've got plenty of stuff in the pipe, but this one we're recording close to the wire because why not? Feeling that get it as festive as possible, close to the big day. And Sega Christmases, mate. We've done 4 of these WinterFest episodes, but we haven't really done a Sega Christmas themed one. And it's going to be a lot of fun here. And I think you suggested it. We're going to talk about Christmas games, talk about our Christmas memories, and we actually had some members of the community that were kind enough to send us their Christmas memories. So a lot of Sega festive fun, because Sega does feel like, to me, a very Christmas-like company. I mean, even look back to the old the 90s when all the Sega's big games geared up for, and I know it's fairly typical for games companies anyway, but they all geared up to that festive period. Like Sonic Tuesday was for holiday 1992. The Saturn release in Japan. around Christmas time. Probably would have been about the same if they kept the original playing in the West as well, but decided to go with the surprise launch.
Mhm.
Games like Sonic and Knuckles, the Virtual Cop games, um, all came out around that Christmas period, and I think it is just because of the age we are, we associate Christmas with the 90s as well.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the age that we are as well that kind of that 90s period, you say, kind of early to mid-teens, peak time for gaming. You were still relying on your parents to, your grandparents to put their hand in their pocket. You'd given lots of hints, and you'd hoped that you were going to get something that you'd asked for. But aye, it's very much video gaming in general. I think has that kind of festive feel, but I think Sega, pretty much nails it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they know it as well. Obviously, we're going to talk about we've got Christmas Nights into Dreams. I don't think there's going to be any surprises about us touching on that. And one thing that I never tire of seeing is that I think it's the 2011 Christmas card. It's 2011 or 2010. We got Bayonetta holding the monkey, and you got the alien with the Christmas jumper on. Obviously, when Sega had the Aliens license, it's just the weirdest Christmas card, but I absolutely love that. if I could buy them, I don't send out Christmas cards, but if I could get that Christmas card, I'd buy enough of them to send to everyone.
Mate, find an image and upload it on Moonpig and get it printed off, mate. That's what you do. It's like,
do they do a whole thing, like a whole picture?
You can upload a full picture on there.
I might do that then. Not this year; it's a bit late now. Don't think I'll get around to it.
Oh, mate, last order. I think it's about 22nd of December or something like that. So
yeah. So speaking of Christmas, then, mate, is there anything on the Segaholics Christmas wish list, or what do you expect to be playing over the festive period?
Well, I've got an HDMI solution for my Mega Drive coming. My wife's bought me that, so that's something I'm looking forward to hooking up because I'm currently using, as you know, the SCART to HDMI box, which does an okay job. Don't get me wrong, there it is, one of those, but it's like the wee kind of adapter for the power supply is a bit loose and it cuts in and out. And whenever you're recording footage as well, you'll know this all too well. How long does that goddamn resolution notification
Oh
take
my
to go on
god!
in the bottom left corner? It's like, would you please piss off? It's like I'm trying to record footage here. It's like, so it'll be good to kind of get rid of that. So I'm going to dig in and fire up some Mega Drive games. I'm probably expecting to feel the same kind of the latency reduction that there was when I went from the Hyperkin, which I thought was fine on the Saturn, to the Rad 2X, especially playing like Street Fighter Alpha. That was really, I was like, oh, that feels more responsive. So I'll try some Mega Drive games, hoping to get back to playing a bit of Vandal Hearts as well on the Saturn. I'm kind of about maybe, I don't know, an hour or so into that. And I said, it's just, again, big thanks to Saturn Dave for recommending that out the blue on one of their shows on Shiro, because I had no idea that it got an English translation until he'd mentioned it. So, and it is, and I've seen people kind of on X as well talking about, don't like these turn-based battle games, and they were showing the Baldur's Gate 3. And that just looks like a really high resolution, super detailed version of Vandal Hearts, basically. But I wouldn't mind going back to that. And of course, I'll just be playing ye old favourites, where I can. A bit of Sega Rally, a bit of Crazy Taxi, a bit of VF2. Why not? Why not, mate?
Why not, indeed?
What about yourself?
What would I be playing? I'll probably be playing something like the Hedgehog 3. For capture purposes, planning a video on that going forward. And stuff that I'm playing at the moment, I started playing Deep Fear. Nice and festive that is. I haven't beat it. I have not beat that game for over 25 years.
Wow.
And since my friend got it, and he had the PAL version, and he traded it in for a Dreamcast probably for about a tenner. But I've got the Japanese version, but it's hard to. I've never beat the Japanese version, so got the English version now on the Fenrir, the actual US version that was never released. But then over Christmas, hoping for some gaming stuff. I know for the kids we've got 1-2 Switch, or the new 1-2 Switch, and Super Mario Wonder. So 4-player games that we'll probably play as a family and enjoy them. Another family game that I've bought for my son, which he asked for. Literally, hope he can't hear me.
Standing outside the door like that, like Hulk Hogan.
Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, right.
Yeah, nice family-friendly game that is. So we'll be ripping each other's spines out.
Finish him.
What I've asked Santa Claus for, or what I've said my wife I want, is an Atari 2600 plus. One family of systems that I've never owned is Atari. I don't own an Atari anything. I've never owned an Atari anything. I play the Lynx. I played a 2600, and I played. Don't know if you remember the TV Boy,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically like a controller that you plugged into your TV, and it had about 2600 games on. So for 2600 plus is a good opportunity to finally get an Atari console. It plays 2600 and 7800 carts, which are all pretty cheap still. So I was thinking, yeah, I'll play that, and that'll be because I feel like Atari are one of these companies, and I know Atari cocked up massively, but they're pretty much forgotten about these days, which is as just as tragic as people forgetting about Sega, really, because their legacy is massive, and they did more for gaming than PlayStation or Xbox did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, as I'm sitting here, you went Atari, and my face just went. You've probably seen it for one, like Atari, man. Jeez, I've got history with them, as you know.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about Atari in one of my Christmas memories that we've got. But it's something that I would love to see Sega maybe do with the Mega Drive.
Yes.
It's because again, Mega Drive carts aren't insanely expensive. Like Sonic's like £6, Sonic 2 is a tenner, Virtua Racing's 12 quid. You know what I mean? So even that, which you would think would be one of the more expensive games because of the cartridge type, but no, it's not. It's 12 quid in CEX. So I would love to see them, rather than doing another mini console, do what Atari are doing, bring out a nice new full size, console that runs the cartridges. That would be people would flock to that. There's a massive audience for that, I think.
Yeah, look, I think we said this. I think we had this conversation with the Shiro guys, possibly recently. It might have been on our show. It might have been on theirs. Can't remember. Everything bears repeating. Everything bears repeating, as Dave says.
Yep.
But I think I said there, it would be an amazing idea for Sega to take any of their consoles, but the Mega Drive one would be the most obvious one, and do an Atari 2600 plus. Put some games preloaded on a cart or inside or internal, and then sell more games. Sell new games. Sell that new Yuzo Koshiro game that has been because that looks absolutely amazing. Eliminate Down is getting a re-release by Retro.
That's right. I've seen that.
So there's games out there for people to buy. And you're not going to see them stacked up in Game or Smiths or anyone like that, but they'll be out there and people will buy them. So people will buy the old games, but people will buy the new games. 2600 plus has got new Atari games for it. So there's a market out there, and people will buy it. It's a smart little. How much money do people spend on things like Rad2X or Hyperkins or whatever, connecting their old Mega Drive to a TV? Get a new Mega Drive with a HDMI inbuilt, which a good solution that eliminates the any lag and gives you all sorts of display options. Bundle that with 10 games or whatever, and then sell other ones, special ones in the shops. Do a re-release of Sonic the Hedgehog. Do a re-release of Sonic 2, or like a special complete edition of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, maybe with a different music, which is worse. But obviously, the MJ estate won't allow it. But there's I think that'd be a really cool idea. I really like what Atari have done. I know it's not to everyone's taste. There's people that go, "Oh, I've got an Atari 600 or a 2600 already. Why do I need this?" Or you can emulate these. And I just think, I am someone that does like having real hardware in front of me. And even though I know it's not real hardware, it's basically an emulation machine with Atari 2600 out casings. It's still really cool. So yeah. That's going to be my Christmas, or at least I hope it is. Mrs. might just get me a pair of socks.
Aye, and maybe a bottle of Jack D.
I mean, I won't mind a bottle of Jack D.
And I know, mate. I know. You like your whiskey, mate.
I do love my whiskey, but yeah, I mean, none of those are especially festive. But I thought the next thing that we'll touch on is the kind of the Christmas games that Sega have put out over the years. It's worth just touching on some of these. So obviously, Christmas Nights into Dreams, um, the best demo ever, quite possibly. Um, little preview video coming Christmas Day, so keep your eyes out for that. But what more to say about this one that hasn't already been said? But what a freebie this was, and giving away free with consoles in stores and with a copy of Sega Saturn magazine. So
Aye, giving away, literally throwing it at people. I've said on X as well, talking to people. Someone had mentioned, I can't remember who it is, apologies, but they'd said about they've got the one that came on Sega Saturn magazine, and that just came in the plastic sleeve.
yeah,
And they'd said they noticed that there's ones with the cardboard sleeve, and those were the ones that were lying outside the electronics boutique, Dixon's, on a table, piled up. Please take one. And I'm like, now they go for like, what, 40, 50 quid on CX, which is just absolutely crazy. But yeah, the sheer volume of content you're getting in there for what is meant to be a demo disc is ridiculous. And it's been great to see recently as well. Is it Griggs is doing the score challenge as well on Elliot's stage. Some insane scores coming in there. Yourself, is it Say Rally Championship boy? Easy left maybe. He's
easy left maybe.
Easy left. He's maybe easy right. Whoa! Starting to quote Sega Rally here. But he had a great score, and then Dave put up a screenshot of Peter from Shiro, and he's like 600 odd thousand. I'm like, what?
Yes, unreal.
Aye. But I mean, Sega Rally Championship, easy left maybe. He'd put a brilliant clip up, and it showed how to paraloop, and he just paraloops the tail. It seems, and I'm like, that's how you do it. Like, I've been trying to get around his body, but it's
there's a few videos going around, and I've always tried to go underneath him, and that's because because I could never do it as a kid. I could never do it. As an adult, there's an achievement in the 360 PS3 and PC version where if you paraloop him, you unlock the achievement. And I looked for a guide on how to do it, and someone's like, you have to fly underneath him, and it's really tricky. And it took several attempts, but I could do it. But it seems like the easiest way to fly over the top of him and paraloop it that way. Right. But I absolutely loved just seeing everyone play that game recently. And their scores getting even more and more insane. And I keep thinking, this is what Knights was meant to be. People think, it's a Mario 64 rival, it's a Crash Bandicoot rival. It's none of those things. It's an arcade classic just specifically for consoles. The controls are fine-tuned to perfection. And Christmas Nights is just the crystallized version of that. Do a little reference to Ridge Racer, I think, and I know you're not the biggest fan of the original Ridge Racer, and I do like it, but that had one course with 2 routes, which is basically what Christmas Nights is. Whereas one was a launch game that cost 50 quid, the other one was given away for free. So
yeah, and Ridge Racer has the worst music ever. Well,
I like the main track, but Rotterdam Nation can get in the bin.
Oh, definitely, mate. I'm migraine in audio form. But it's been great to see. Sat and Dave did another video as well, a wee kind of impromptu video on their channel, like trying to show or talk through how to play it, explaining the kind of gameplay mechanics. And what you said there is exactly what he said. Like, that's what Knights is at its core. It's an arcade score attack game.
Yeah.
But because of when it came out and the focus on Mario 64 and 3D platformers,
and because it was by Sonic Team as well, I think
people thought, it's a Mario 64 rival, but it's just not what it is. It was just Naka doing his own thing, and the rest of the team obviously don't want to sharpie out people in pictures and stuff. But it's an old school arcade score attack game, and seeing some of the link chains that you guys are getting, my God, like 120, 130. I'm like, how are you people doing this?
Lots and lots of practice. But that's not the only Christmas game on the Sega Saturn. One that never came out here is a good old Father Christmas. And this is the Robert Briggs version. I've never played this one actually. I don't know if you have.
No,
I think it's like a storybook version. I'm not sure if he says "old bugger" in it as much as he does in the. Is it bugger that he keeps saying,
bugger.
or is it he keeps going bloody hell? Oh, he's bloody reindeer.
Oh man, I can hear it as well. I can see it. Oh man, no,
Yeah.
I've never played that. I have not. I mean, I don't think I'm going to make space on the firmware for it, to be honest. But um, no, it's not one I've tried.
Yeah, it's I've not tried it either. I've looked at like YouTube videos of like 5 minutes of it. It seems just like a storybook game. Interestingly, uh Saturn exclusive because the snowman was PlayStation exclusive. It's like Darth Vader and Yoda all over again in Soul Calibur 4, isn't it? It's
That's aye. We've got Santa. Well, we've got the snowman.
yeah, we're Team Father Christmas. So
Aye, we're walking in the air. Was it the Iron Brew advert version of it? You
yeah.
seen that?
No, I've not. No,
Have you not?
I've not. No.
No, they've reenacted it, and it's like the snowman's flying through the air, and you also get the wee boy, and the lyrics have been changed. Like we're walking in the air, we're looking for some Iron Brew, and then he, I think he drops his can or something, and he goes to save the can and drops the wee boy.
Oh, it reminds me of this is going on a right tangent now. Is Jim will paint it posted a little comic today, and it was the boy holding onto the snowman's arm in one of the first panel. The second one, he slips off. The third one, he splats on the floor with blood everywhere. And the snowman standing next to him. Next one, the snowman has melted to got his hat and gloves melted next to this bloody dressing gown. And the last one's Mulder and Scully.
Mulder and Scully. And they're new done it's like the classic kind of too sad there, Scully.
Oh, it was amazing.
Oh,
Oh,
brilliant. I seen that. I had a good chuckle at that earlier.
yeah. Last game I got on here is Days Before Christmas, which is a platformer. Quite a lot of fun actually. I was playing it, capturing a bit of footage, which might weave into this video. But yeah, this one was a bit of a laugh. It's not most brilliant platformer, but it's good enough, and you make your way through 24 levels like an advent calendar, collecting presents. When Santa Claus, I don't know what he eats. He eats something. He turns into this like demon geezer with a mallet. It's weird. it's it's festive enough.
That's kind of reaching die-hard levels of Christmas movie, isn't it? You're kind of
Yeah, I know.
you're in a fine line there now, isn't it? It's
That's it.
Die Hard as a Christmas movie.
We're talking about Christmas games that aren't Christmas games. So Sega, back in the day, they loved their old DLC and timed events. So I've got three on here. Sega Touring Car is one that you covered off in your Sega Touring Car video a while back, but that's a great little addition, isn't it?
Aye, adding in those web events basically where whenever the clock hit a certain time, it would unlock various kind of tweaks on the track. So you had like the April Fool one where you go that way and everybody goes that way. So you've got to turn around and actually race, and if you don't, you hit them head on. But aye, there was a Christmas theme track as well that was unlocked on obviously whenever the clock hit Christmas Day. And it's just a very festive, snowy Christmas trees, lights all over them. So aye, very clever that they would think to add that in. And that was really interesting, kind of ahead of its time almost content for that game, to tie in additional content locked on the disc, only accessed when the system clock recognised a certain date. So aye, and I covered all those off in the Sega Guys race video that I did for Touring Car. It's quite an extensive part in that video actually, where I show all the different dates and the different events that come, but the Christmas one's brilliant. So I say very festive looking, very colourful Christmas trees. It's like Debenhams.
Yeah.
Before they get shut down, I just realised they're
Yeah.
gone. But aye, very, very, very festive. But I definitely worth checking out. Just load it up, set your system clock to Christmas time, and just watch it go.
Yeah. And speaking of games that look like Debenhams, the Sonic Adventure DLC. I don't know if you ever played that.
No.
So that one, I didn't actually play it back in the day, but got a disc which did actually. I used this disc to play the Sonic Adventure 2 Green Hill version
Right.
because I'm not good enough to get all the 120 emblems and all the A ranks and everything. So I had to cheat to get that, and you could download the Sonic Adventure DLC, the Christmas DLC, and that basically just kits out Station Square in Christmas stuff. And that does look like Debenhams, or looks like a British shopping centre, you know. But it's pretty cool. 'Cause some of it kind of breaks the game a little bit, introduces a few bugs, but it's quite fun. And then the last thing I had was the Fantasy Star Online events. Kind of cover Fantasy Star and Universe in here as well. But these were always things that I enjoyed doing. You know, they'd play a bit of festive music. Sometimes I think they put Christmas music in one of them at least once. Um, Fantasy Star Universe as well. Fantasy Star Online 2, I think, has done it, but I've not played PSO2 as much. But these were these were brilliant. I just think it just, coming back to what we were saying, I think Sega's always been that company to just do Christmas right, haven't they?
Aye, aye. Even in Japan, Sagata Sanshiro, I'm sure he's had an advert where he's decked out festively as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it
So
is.
aye. So there's just, as you say, mate, they like to kind of tune into that kind of feel good factor around the festive period, and we certainly did enjoy kind of taking part in those games and those events, like it says, like Sega Touring Car. Like I've not played like Fantasy Star Online shamefully as a game. I didn't play. I wasn't. I just wanted my Sega stuff for arcade ports. Right,
Mm.
I'm ashamed. I was like, give me arcade ports. Didn't like RPGs, and going online to play one just didn't appeal to me. But I have seen the screenshots of the kind of the festive stuff that they've done and things like that. So, aye, it is nice that they kind of tune into that feel good factor.
Yeah, it is. You're saying that what you're saying about Japan as well. It's funny that the Father Christmas game is Saturn exclusive. It's Japan exclusive. It's bonkers. It's a British property. I mean, it's Father Christmas for crying out. It's not Santa Claus. It's not, it's Father Christmas. Never came over. Never got a Western release. It's a British book, British made animation, and it just never came over here. Can you imagine? Like someone at Sega Europe thinking, no one's going to buy that. Not for the Sega side.
But I mean, you've got one other thing that Sega did, and it's Christmas nights related in Japan, and that is the gorgeous Christmas nights box
I
for
do.
the White Saturn, which is absolutely stunning.
It is.
That Christmas nights box with the red ribbon and the picture of the console on top, and that's a beautiful beautiful box.
Yeah, it's one of these things that I wish I had room to kind of have it out. It's in the loft, unfortunately. There is a white Sega Saturn in there. That Sega Saturn is broken. It's got all sorts of corruption on the display, so it's literally just tucked away in there. And the Christmas night CD slips in the box, so you've got like the wrapper bit that goes on the outside, and you open up the box, and the box flips open, and then Christmas Nights is there, sitting in the center. So I've got a copy of Christmas Nights in there still, and then the Saturn's underneath. The Saturn doesn't work, so I just leave it all boxed up. Got it in a bundle, so I paid almost nothing for it because it was sold as junk, and it basically is junk, but it's a lovely bundle to have. And again, I
Aye.
think you know for some reason over here in the West, they didn't think to bundle anything like that. I mean, yes, okay, the Sega Saturn over here was black, but a special edition consoles were all the rage. Remember everyone going crazy for the black PlayStation, the black
Oh,
PS1. that was 97. You
that's
know,
right. Aye. Was that not off the back as well? Because the Netgear Rosie console came out first, didn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
That was a
that was
developer's
the development one.
console,
Yeah,
and people went, "Ooh, a black PS1," and Sony went, "Let's let's sell some special editions." You know, but can you imagine how stunning a white Mark One Saturn would have looked?
yeah.
Can you imagine all white, but instead of the black kind of plastic slash fake kind of glass looking bit with the elliptic buttons, it was all white. Ooh, that'd have looked tasty with a
So
grey cartridge slot.
someone's got to go out there and 3D print one.
Nah, do it. Someone.
So, mate, on to our Christmas memories. So I don't know how we'll do these. Should we go me then you? Should we go you then me, or should we go in chronological order? What do you think?
Well, I've got I've got three, which I've got all Sega related in some way. Um, Two of them are from 96, late 96 and Christmas 96, and one's from, I think it would be 91, 92 Christmas. That was another tale of a Sega that never was, mate. But um, I'm happy to go in whatever order, whatever suits yourself, mate. Just fire them out.
Ah, you saying that about your 92 one? Because if I do my 92 one first, I think it's gonna drive the dagger further. I don't know. Actually, it's probably going to do it whatever way we do it. Right, so I'll do mine first then. So Christmas 1992, and I think I've told this story before, but my brother got his Master System for his birthday. I used to think it was 1991, and I think it was some sort of. I must have got it wrong because apparently Sonic the Hedgehog didn't come to the Master System until November 1991. So couldn't have got that. So he must have got it in 1992. And then obviously we loved Sonic the Hedgehog. Saw the hype for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Got them. We got the Master System version in October, and Master System version was okay. It's pretty good, but we just wanted to play as Tails, and you couldn't. And then while we're like going, oh well, yeah, it's pretty good, but you can't play as Tails. And we're looking at these pictures of him flying the biplane and then running along with Sonic in the Mega Drive version. So it's we want to Mega Drive, want to Mega Drive, want to Mega Drive. And I remember being in, I think it must have been Curry's or Comet or something. And they had loads of them, like Mega Drives playing, and they all had Sonic 2 on. And I was dragging with my mum and dad around going, this is the console we want, like for all of us. Because obviously it was far too big a present for me to get for myself at the time. So it's like for all three for me, my brother, and my sister. And lo and behold, Christmas morning, ripped it open. It was like, yes. It was like Nintendo 64 kid, like, yes.
Mega Drive.
Yeah. So the thing was, we'd actually played the Mega Drive Sonic the Hedgehog. My auntie had it, and we had friends that had it, but we didn't have it ourselves. But we'd played it before, so we weren't interested in that at all. And because there was three of us, weren't just one of us, and the console came with Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and 2 controllers. And yeah, so straight away it was like Sonic 2 was straight in. And that ended up causing a bunch of arguments because for some reason I had it in my head that you could play the entire game split screen. And obviously you play single player where second player can control Tails, where you play competition mode. And I kept saying to my mum, "Oh, you're saying it out wrong, you're saying it out wrong." And then the argument started over who could have a turn on it. So this present for three of us, two players at the same time between three didn't work out, and then one player game was restrictive anyway. But it all sorted itself out in the end, and that's one of that Christmas. That's pretty much all I did was play that Mega Drive and play Sonic 2 all day. I don't think I could get past like the aquatic ruin stage. I don't think I could even get past the chemical plant. But I was just on it non-stop, and it was just the thing was I'd seen a Mega Drive with Altered Beast 1 or 2 years before, and I'd wanted one so much, but it was always one of those things that was just out of reach. And yeah, it's to finally get it for Christmas Day, and with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as well, and the game that would become my favorite game of all time. Is like I knew then how important it would be, and the hype. I was so hyped for it, and it just didn't disappoint. So yeah, that was my Christmas 1992, mate.
Certainly better than mine.
So what was yours?
So I think I've told this one on a previous show, but as we said, everything's worth repeating. So someone won't have heard this story. But yeah, so it was the lineup to me getting a handheld. It was made very clear that, for my Christmas, and it was 92. I just looked at it. It was 92. Batman Returns came out on the Atari Lynx. Tying in with the movie, there was a pack. It was also bundled with the game. And it was a shot many UK consumers and, people in their 30s and 40s will remember Tandy.
Yeah, I remember Tandy.
So where Tandy used to be in the city centre is now where it was. A Witherspoon's pub is taking over the kind of area where it is. But go in there and they had a demo pod. Went in the door, turned to the left, and it was round to that side. It was a three-way pod. The Game Boy, Game Gear, and the Atari Lynx. And the Game Gear always had Sonic running. And I would always make sure I made it clear Sonic's amazing. Sonic, yay! But my uncle wanted, let's look at the Lynx. I don't know why. I think it's because I don't know if maybe the media or any magazines or tech magazines that had pushed the Lynx as being superior, and we have been like this pure techie. Like, if I'm going to buy you something, it's going to be the best. So I don't want the best. I want fucking Sonic.
Sega's the best.
Aye, I don't want Gates of Zendikon. I don't want Rygar or Gauntlet. I want Sonic. So, lo and behold, it kind of I've dropped enough hints, and I'm thinking, right, they can't balls this up. It's a shoe in. So, of course, I know what the Game Gear box shape looks like. It's tall, it's more like a square, quite narrow, and I know that the Atari Lynx box is rectangular and quite chunky. So, we're all up the presents and getting the usual soft stuff, jumper, crap, socks, crap. Don't want that. Oh, selection box, excellent. Nobody touched my Rolos. And then the surprise present comes out at the end. Here it comes. And like Game Gear boxes and Lynx boxes for the games were very similar
Yeah.
in terms of shape, so that was fine. So, but there was maybe 3 or 4. I remember I got Blue Lightning, California Games, Gates of Zendikon, Rygar, Gauntlet. There was a stack of them that I got. You were thinking, you ungrateful bastard at this point. Right? But the box came out, and I remember I put the game, what was clearly the games pile to the side. I just remember ripping the front open, and this Batman Returns logo looked, and I see that orange and silver Lynx logo coming through at me, and my face must have been a picture, because I still remember my uncle to this day going, are you not surprised? And I'm like, oh yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm surprised, all right. I'm surprised that you can't take a goddamn hint. But aye. So, I mean, in retrospect, I had plenty of fun with the Lynx. It was impressive for what it could do. The screen was really bright, really good resolution on it. Some of the games were not bad. California Games was good. The Blue Lightning was okay, but it was no afterburner. Gates of Zendikon was quite a challenging kind of R-type style wannabe shoot 'em up. And that was not bad. Gauntlet was interesting because you had to turn the Lynx on its side to play it.
Yeah.
It was long kind of way. It was a Lynx 2 I got as well, not that monstrosity thing that looks it's bigger than a Steam Deck. It was a kind of more chunkier one, but a nice bit of kit, but it wasn't a Game Gear. I wouldn't get one of them till later on. But I always remember that and feeling a wee bit guilty that I sort of I was a bit of an ungrateful son when it opened up. But it's like, you spent months hint for Sonic. It's like, you denied me the Mega Drive with an ST. How could you make the same mistake again? Like, I literally felt like John McClane in Die Hard 2. How can the same shit happen to the same guy twice? It's like, come on. But there we go. So there we go. So that's like it's Sega related in terms of being denied, but the following memories will be specifically Sega.
No, because you got your Game Gear shortly after, didn't you?
I was because a lot of my kind of Sega gifts that I would get bought with for like birthdays and like kind of just random pickups like during the year that I would get a treat with. So, it was in the Game Gear pack that I got. As I said before, it was the one that had Sonic 1 and 2 bundle because it had that sticker in the bottom corner.
Yeah,
and it said on it was the bottom left corner, it's Sonic 1 and 2 included. But I got it eventually, mate. But That was not one of my best Christmases in terms of letting the family down because they thought this ungrateful sod. But sorry.
I've got a similar story, like a similar ungrateful sod story coming up. But yeah, just stepping through my next three, which were none of them were as big as getting the actual Mega Drive itself. But 1993, um, I just got Street Fighter 2 for my birthday, and my dad was, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas? Do you want Mortal Kombat?" And I was like, "No, I got Street Fighter." He said, well, "All right. Oh, do you want Sonic Spinball then?" And I was like, "No." So I imagine, like, as a parent now, you think, you try and guess what your kid wants. Oh, do you want this? And they're like, "Nah." And well, it doesn't make sense. So that's what he must have been thinking. And he's like, "What do you want?" Aladdin. And yeah, what a choice that was, because yeah, I opened that up on Christmas Day, and it was one that that everyone kind of sat around and was like, oh, wow, this looks absolutely amazing. And we were all massive fans of the film as well at the time. So I can't remember if we saw the film in the cinema. We definitely had a dodgy bootleg VHS though that went on a lot.
We all had dodgy bootleg VHSs that some guy in your pal's work or your uncle's work or your dad's work clearly had managed to get off the back of a truck somewhere.
Yeah.
Aye. Oh man. Die Hard 2 I seen, and I remember it was a pirate copy. Robocop 2 was a pirate copy as well.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so Aladdin, fantastic game. Spent all of our Christmas Day playing that. And then yeah, 1994, just after Sonic and Knuckles for my birthday. Um, that one, the old question came out again. So, what do you want for Christmas? You got Sonic. Yep. Do you want the new Street Fighter 2? No. What do you want then? Mortal Kombat 2. Well, you didn't want Mortal Kombat last year, but I want Mortal Kombat. And yeah, because the Street Fighter game would have been Super Street Fighter 2.
Yes.
And I don't mind. I quite like the Mega Drive port of Super Street Fighter 2. But I think back then, if you get in a game for Christmas and a game for your birthday, you want to make sure that you're getting the games that count. And I think I had Street Fighter 2, love Street Fighter. I mean, I've spoken so many times. There's a video of me talking about how much I love Street Fighter 2, or the Special Championship Edition. I didn't own a Mortal Kombat game at the time. I enjoyed the first one, but didn't want to buy it. But the second one, was so good. Absolutely. I know, obviously, we talked about in the Mortal Kombat pod recently. And funny, I was talking about Mortal Kombat being a festive game earlier on. But yeah, I was playing Mortal Kombat 2 all over Christmas. Thing was, when you get games like for Christmas, back in those days, it's not so much the case now because games are built the way they are. But back then, the game had been out long enough. It would have still been full price. But all the cheats were out. So I had the magazines with the fatalities in. I had the left down, left, right down, right, left, left, up to get the hidden options menu. I knew all that sort of stuff. So I knew how to get all the all the special content and everything in it. And yeah, absolutely loved it. And then for 95, I don't know where this came from actually. So I don't remember anyone asking for it. But Micro Machines 2 was the game that we got bought for Christmas, and this was a joint present between me, my brother, and my sister. And my God, what a game that is!
I just heard the music in my head there.
And of course, at the time we had, I think there's only 2 buttons that you use in it, which are stop and go, and we had Master System controllers. We had the 2 3-button pads that we got with the console in 1992, and we had a couple of 6-button controllers that we'd got for Street Fighter 2. I think they'd gone down to like a tenner. And funny thing, and we're going a bit of a tangent now. When I got Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition, I got the game. My uncle bought me the controller, which is a quick shot 6-button pad, and I got beat by Dowsim a couple of days into owning it, and threw my controller at the TV, and the controller exploded. To apologise to my uncle for breaking his present that he bought me and for basically being a little shit. I eventually got a competition pro controller 6-button from Argos, and the thing was, after about 6 months, it started playing up and stopped working. So I went and got another one, but we exchanged it, just exchanged it. And I can't remember how it worked out, but eventually I'd gone through so many of these controllers and just replacing them that I'd end up with two of them. I can't remember how it had worked out. So I ended up with two 6-button controllers. So that meant Christmas Day, 1995, we had, the full complement of everyone playing Micro Machines huddled around the Mega Drive. And that was me, my brother, my sister, occasionally one of my parents. And yeah, that was an absolute riot. Micro Machines 2, just one of the best multiplayer games ever made, I think. And that J-Kart was genius. Actually used to when I started working in a warehouse around the corner, must have been 2000, maybe. Used to come back with a bunch of the lads at lunchtime to play Micro Machines at my mum's house.
Brilliant. We did for lunch, mate. Pub. Nah. I play some Micro Machines. I go for it.
Oh, we used to all go around there with our lunches. Sit in my bedroom, play Micro Machines, bunch of fully grown lads all on their lunch break from the warehouse.
Brilliant.
But yeah, that was my intervening. So that was 92, 93, 94, and 95, mate. So I've gassed about those Christmases long enough. So we'll bring it back round to you, mate. So you said you got a couple for 96.
Yeah, so would be, because if I remember, because I'm trying to think whenever that I got my hands on Virtua Cop for the Saturn. I know I got it in W.H. Smith. I was racking my brains, and it was I think maybe 3 months or so before like Christmas itself. So it was, mentioned before, that it was kind of downstairs in the basement area in W.H. Smith's.
Yeah.
And basically bottom shelf, classic Sega Saturn games. Well, not brand new at that point, it'd been out for a while, but bottom shelf. And at that point, I was still playing on, obviously, my uncle's Saturn, which is the one that I've got now upstairs, and at his at the weekends. But being able to kind of go home and play that in advance was amazing. It was like one of those things that was like, because the conversations kind of coming back to me, it's like, she was like, "Do you want that for your Christmas?" But it was like, but obviously you don't have a Saturn, because I didn't quite know at that point that I was actually getting my own. So that's how I'm. Because I was told you earlier, I was racking my brains trying to put timelines together to think of this. And as I say, so it was maybe like 3 months before Christmas, and it's we seen it there, and it was like 54.99, 59.99 it would have been for the long box for the Virtua gun and obviously Virtua Cop in there, and just getting that home and also being allowed to play it, because I didn't have a Saturn, so it was like a kind of Christmas present, but not a Christmas present kind of thing. But I just been able to play that at home was amazing, and then obviously, Christmas '96 itself, actually like getting the Saturn, but I'd seen it. It was bought in for me. Like, I remember like my mum and my uncle being quite kind of paranoid that it might sell out, and I'm like, at this point, you're kind of, you've still been reading the Sega Saturn magazine, and you're kind of twigging, you're seeing in the shops that things aren't kind of, as busy as other consoles game selections, but that red Dixon's bag at sat in my uncle's room. I remember seeing it. Like, I knew they'd went and bought it, but see to actually go into his room and see the red bag sitting in the red Dixon's bag. As I say, it was like Virtua Fighter 2, Sega Rally, Euro 96, and Thunderhawk 2 Firestorm was the bundle. And even they would take each game out and look at it, and they're like, "Oh, good, that bag, you're not getting that to Christmas." And it's like, but to just even hold these games, and obviously yourself the Saturn games had that wee kind of see-through circle kind of seal, the bit where you would put your fingers into to open up the case, and just looking at the back of the box, and I can still smell the newness and that big long Mark One box. And I was like, oh man, it's like,
oh man, that's just it's a memory unlocked there. Just thinking about when you'd get an absolutely fresh Sega Saturn game. Fucking hell. It's gonna make me want to go on eBay looking for sealed Saturn games now. I just have to sell a kidney.
Just to relive that, like The Rock standing up the top rope.
Yeah.
if you smell what the Saturn is cooking. But aye, it was just, I say I can just still see the red bag, Dixon's logo, that beautiful, you know yourself, the Saturn box. I'd seen it before, obviously, because my uncle had the one on launch day, but it had the kind of the sleeve over it with the Virtua
Mm.
Fighter guys
Yeah.
holding the disc or the copy of the game.
Mm.
But to actually look at it and know that that was mine was just like amazing. And to be able to just the amount of times I would just go into his room and just just like these are going to be mine. And then finally, I got it at Christmas '96, and it was just like straight through to my room, set it up, had my computer desk still sitting in that corner. Um, and as I say, the Amiga had like long been vacated to make space
Mm.
for it. I was like, right, you can get lost. And the space was sitting there for it, just ready. And oh man, at that time I had it was one of maybe like a 14, 15 inch, just a wee Sony Trinitron, but it did
Mm.
have SCART on the back of it. It was one of those wee kind of charcoal black ones
Yeah.
with the kind of the green icon for SCART in the corner. So
Mm.
I was able to use like SCART from the off on it. But aye man, it was just and it just felt like such a massive step up, even though I'd been playing it every week at my uncle's beforehand with his console. But see, whenever the difference in knowing that you've got that in your room, you can play it whenever you want. These are your games. It's your console. It's like it was just like I still remember waking up on like Boxing Day and just like looking over at it and going, no, it's like it's still there. It's mine. It was oh, it was so good. And it was just I didn't want any other system. It's like you'd been hearing friends talking about PlayStation, this and that. I'd already been invested in the Saturn, since like, the launch day anyway. But just to actually have your own, and I didn't care what the kids were playing at school on their PlayStations. I just didn't care. I was like, this is the machine I wanted to have for myself every day. Come home from school and play it to whenever I wanted until my mum kicked me off to your bed. But nah, it was amazing. And, my first Sega console that was mine as well,
Yeah.
which is why it kind of resonates so much with me as well. That's why it was amazing to actually get my hands on my own. But the tease for the kind of the month beforehand to actually see it sitting in that bag, like, I just have it now, please. No, you'll wait. But it was worth it, mate. Absolutely amazing. So that's why that system means that much. It's
Yeah.
just there's just so much attached to it. Just again being linked into Christmas. So the kind of weird thing is, as much as that system was my first one, and that system is long gone. I don't know who's got it now. No idea. It was amongst the stuff that I sold, as I said, in 2008, along with a white Japanese Saturn in the red and white box, along with the Japanese launch day, the Mark One Saturn in the gold box. All gone. Aye, painful. But the funny thing is that I still, the fact that the console I've got upstairs is that one that I played on launch day with that surprise, going up to visit and having Virtua Fighter flung at me. That in itself still has more of a hook to it. I just love the fact that I look at that and I know that it's not just a Saturn. It's not like my
Mm.
Dreamcast that I've got just now, but it's a Dreamcast that I've technically built because it's like a third party shell and a Japanese motherboard and a GDMU and a Noctua fan and a Dream Power PSU. It's like Frankencast. But that's Saturn I've got up there. I've got history with that machine. And
Yeah.
I just love looking at it and thinking that that machine has known me for like, to use the inverted commas quote, has known me since I was like 16 years old, kind of thing. So, it's amazing. But the Saturn's just etched in Christmas memories. Just love it.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Unfortunately, I don't have my original Saturn from 1996 anymore. Um, that went in the bin.
Jesus.
It completely stopped reading discs, completely and utterly. And I went onto eBay, saw. Don't even know if it's the same Saturn now, because. But I saw the Saturn that I've got now, which is the Model One, with the same mod to it, same region switches. I bought that, threw the other one in the bin. It's like, doesn't work. Get rid of it. He's just like, well, what's the point in keeping something that doesn't work? Didn't think anything of it back then.
That's the
Um,
thing. We didn't. We
no,
spoke about that just before we came on here. Old stuff, you never thought it was going to be worth anything, so you just binned it or sold it or traded
yeah,
it in. You know,
yeah. So yeah, but I got my Saturn in 1996, and that's the reason why I have three Saturns in this room. I've got the Model One modded, which I don't think it probably is the same one that I bought all those years ago, because Simon Locke basically said that it's completely buggered. The mod that was done to it was pretty horrendous when you actually opened it up, and
remember that.
I don't think you could get it to boot again. So it was like a whole new board and everything. It's got a switchless region free. So I've got that one there. I've got, while he was working on that, because Simon's very busy, took him a bit of time, on my Japanese version Saturn, which I got for cheap over in eBuyer. No, not eBuyer, Buy. That's now got a Fenrir in it. So that's basically my Fenrir machine. And they're both practical uses, both practical machines. But up there in a box, which I get down now and again, is the original unmodded Model 2 console. That one's actually my sister's, because she actually bought her own Saturn in the end. But I took the drive out of that one died, the drive died to it in it, but she kept it. I took the drive out of the Japanese Model 2, stuck it in that console, and it lives. And I just think that there is crystallized. That is what I had in 1996. And even though it's not mine, I look at it and I think, well, that's what I had. So it's a pure nostalgia machine.
Right.
Um,
You've also got a little bit of my history there as well, because you've got the Mark One Saturn with disk drive, and I obviously put
I have,
Fenrir
yeah.
in mine. So
It's got your disk drive in it, yeah.
you know what I mean. So lives on, donating to help bring other Saturns back to life.
It is. But yeah, my Saturn I got for my birthday in 1996, and this was one where I'd saved up all my paper round money, um, birthday money for, went out and bought that. Then had to buy an RF cable so it'd play on my telly in my room after. um, Christmas, I wanted one game only, and that was a game that I played in the arcades that year. And that was Virtua Cop 2. And as soon as I saw in Sega Saturn magazine that it was coming to the Saturn, I was like, I want it, I need it. And yeah, the funny story behind this one was, and I think I have told this before, but I was playing Virtua Cop 2, and my uncle came over with some pretty nice polo shirts at the time. Um, and I'm in the middle of a game. Mum's like, your Uncle Wayne's here. Oh, hi, Wayne. He's like, here's your present. So I opened it up. I went, all right, cheers. I don't think I even looked at him. It makes me cringe thinking about it now. But yeah,
Oh,
I was on that. Was on that. Well, it's funny because I was on that most of the day, and I remember when my dad came up after we'd had a few drinks. Going, what's all this about? I was like, are you, it's just a shooting game. It's like, all right, give me the gun. And I'm like, in the options, like, oh, how many lives do you want? And he's like, how many lives? You only get one life, son. All right, that's a bit deep. But here you go. Put you down to one life. You get shot by the first enemy, and that was it. This is go over. Um, so yeah, we were playing that most of the time. My brother, probably as sort of revenge for the fact that I kind of took over his master system with Sonic games. He for Christmas he asked for Sega Worldwide Soccer '97,
ooh.
um, to play on my Sega Saturn. But yeah, we played played that to absolute death as well. Still, I think the best football game ever made.
Ah, there must be a spot kick.
But absolutely superb. So yeah, that was a good one. After that, I don't have many Christmas memories, because after that, I think I was kind of earning my own money, buying my games then. And for Christmas, it was mainly like clothes and stuff. There were a few
Yeah.
exceptions. 2002. when my then girlfriend at the time bought me an Xbox which had Sega GT and Jet Set Radio Future. I remember playing those two quite a lot, which is Sega related. Well, I probably still went back to Halo at the end. But yeah, I remember playing Sega GT because at the time I'd actually loved the Dreamcast original. Um, and I didn't like 2002 as much, but playing 2000, is it 2002 or 2001? I can't remember what the Xbox version's called. But yeah, playing it recently, it's a really good game. And obviously, Jet Set Radio Future is,
That speaks for itself.
yeah. And the only other one that really comes to mind is Sonic games. Sonic Unleashed in 2008. Big fan of that one. As we know, John Linneman is. We spoke to him on the show recently. And Sonic Mania, the Switch Deluxe version of that I got a couple of years ago. But that's just individual games, and none of them hold the weight of those original, Sega games and Sega hardware back in the 90s. Much like you were saying, you just have that connection. I don't have as much of a connection with Sonic Mania on the Switch. I'm sorry. It's a great game. It's a great game, even though if I prefer Sonic Superstars, and as controversial as that opinion is, and it's not going to hold as much weight as that copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 behind me there.
No, certainly not. I mean, my last kind of big game in Christmas was '97, and I'm going to try, as Murtaugh would say in Lethal Weapon 2, it's pretty thin. But I'm going to try and link it. So, what game were we as Saturn owners denied? What sequel were we denied by Core Design?
Oh, Tomb Raider 2.
There we go. So Christmas '97, I got a PlayStation 1 with Tomb Raider 2, Final Fantasy 7, and Time Crisis with the G-Con. And the thing is, as well, it's like, I just remember I was excited about getting it. And I remember playing Time Crisis, and there's a funny thing as well. The Christmas video, my uncle used to walk about with Sony camcorder filming everything in Christmas. Like, why did people do that back in the 90s, man? Like, you just sit there with that awkward side eye knowing the camera's on you. But in the video, and I've seen it back like years and years ago, and like maybe the Queen's speech or something that's on the telly, and that's, oh, look, there's like your wee sister's playing with her dollies, and what do you hear in the background? Action! Reload! That's all you can hear in the background is Time Crisis, right? But
let me entertain you,
Sharudo Garo. Since you have travelled so very far, be my guest and let me entertain you, Richard Miller.
Wild Dog.
Wild Dog, why is it taking you so long to get rid of them? Time Crisis 2, remember? Whenever we finished that now.
Yeah, we finished that in the arcade, yeah. Oh, so Tomb Raider 2, mate. Tomb Raider 2. So when Sony inked that deal with Core Design, it was people like you they had in mind.
Yep, people that knew would end up buying a PlayStation or getting a PlayStation to play it. And to be fair, it was whenever you first seen that opening level where you you slide down, you walk through, you go through the water pool, you climb up as the tigers and stuff, and then you got through the tower up to the top. Aye, it's not bad. It was impressive enough at the time. It was certainly brighter and smoother than Saturn Tomb Raider 1, but then Tomb Raider 1 on PlayStation did have that element of smoothness to it. But I don't know, I just love the roughness of Tomb Raider on the Saturn. I think it gives it more character for me. People might think that's me trying to find excuses to cover up the poor performance, and if that's what you think, then sod it. But I just prefer the darker, kind of grittier look of the Saturn version. But hopefully Tomb Raider 2 is one that we get to play. The work we've seen on Unfinished Business, means that we should hopefully see something maybe years down the line with Tomb Raider 2. But Final Fantasy 7, mate, I barely touched that. That was one that I got bought. Again, it was bought for me based on the hype. Like, it was a game everybody was talking about, so I'll get that, put that in, put Final Fantasy 7. Like, no, mate, it's just no for me. And Jason will listen to this and he'll be shaking his fist because he's like the massive Final Fantasy 7 fan, but it just wasn't for me. But Time Crisis got a bit of play. Nowhere as good as Virtua Cop. Setting up the G-Con was ridiculous. Had to put an adapter in. They had a stupid cable with a yellow plug in it to stick into the adapter to aid accuracy. The Virtua gun didn't need accuracy help. It just was accurate.
Yeah.
But, aye. So that was the last kind of big, like, computer game Christmas, because at that point, Christmas '97, I'd turned 18 in the May.
Mhm.
So, you know, you're well out of school, you're in college, you're kind of working part time at that point. You're on your way to uni. So it was like, this is your last kind of big Christmas.
Yeah.
And then after that, I pretty much, obviously, 98 would come, Dreamcast would be announced, I would import it like yourself early 99, and then that set the wheels in motion to kind of go back the way and start importing loads of Saturn stuff. So that was the last time anybody family-wise bought me anything kind of big gaming-wise for Christmas.
Yeah, it's the same as me. So I suppose, mate, we'll go over to our community that have very generously taken the time to record their Christmas memories. So let's go to them.
Merry Christmas, Dan. Merry Christmas, James. Merry Christmas, Sega guys. It's Andy Mackey here, calling in to talk about my favourite Sega Christmas memory. This was from 1994, and it was a special one for me because it was one of my favourite Sonic 2D games, which was Sonic & Knuckles. Absolutely loving Sonic 1, 2 and 3. I knew that I had to have Sonic & Knuckles. I absolutely love the box art. Even to this day, it's probably my favourite Sonic box art. That logo is absolutely amazing. And yeah, my mum and dad, they got me on Christmas. Absolutely loved playing through the game. Found the lock-on technology absolutely... I thought it was genius. Thought it was genius that you could open up Sonic 2 again and use Knuckles, and you could climb up to these areas that we never knew existed in Sonic 2 when you was either Sonic or Tails. I think I was about 6 or 7 at the... No, I was about 6 or 7 at the time. So I tried putting in different games like Golden Axe and Streets of Rage 2, and obviously a bit confused about why it wasn't working. But I got over that, and I enjoyed Sonic & Knuckles immensely, and especially when you put in Sonic 3, it becomes the absolute ultimate 2D Sonic game for me. Absolutely perfect, and obviously it was re-released in Sonic Origins, and for me it's my favourite 2D Sonic game. But thank you both for the fantastic content that you provided us over the last 12 months. Absolutely fantastic, and you both deserve to have a lie down after the last 12 months. And Merry Christmas to you both.
Hello Sega guys, it's Mr. Thundering here. Hope you're both doing well. My favourite Christmas Sega memory is getting a Sega Mega Drive the same year it was released, which a quick check on the internet is telling me was 1990. I had to save up all my pocket money to put towards half of it, and also sell my Sega Master System as well, but I would say it was worth every penny. It came with Altered Beast as its pack-in game, and I really wanted to get something like Golden Axe or the Revenge of Shinobi, but unfortunately at the time that I picked up the Mega Drive, I couldn't find any copies of those, so I ended up picking up a copy of Truxton instead, which actually went on to be one of my favourite vertically scrolling shoot-em-ups on the Mega Drive. Fortunately though, with the combined Christmas money that I'd got from some of my relatives, I was able to then pick up a copy of Revenge of Shinobi from my local Toys R Us about a week later, and wow, what an incredible game it was. It was such a huge step up from anything I'd ever played on the Master System before. It really did genuinely feel like I was playing a proper arcade game at home. All of this 16-bit blast processing powered goodness really did make Christmas 1990 a very memorable one for me. Anyway, happy Christmas Dan and James, hope you both have a lovely time with your families over this festive period, and happy Christmas to all your listeners and viewers too. I hope Santa brings you all the lovely Sega related goodies that you're after this year.
Hey everyone, it's Retro Martin here. Now I'm going to talk about my favourite Sega Christmas memory. And I'm sure this is going to be one that's quite similar for a lot of people. Now, I was a big Sega fan for a while before I got any machine myself. Like, I'd been playing a Master System since about 1990. my family members, my cousins. Played loads of great games like Psycho Fox and obviously Sonic when that came out in 1991. And then moved on to their Mega Drive a little bit after that, playing obviously games like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 when that came out in 1992. And it wouldn't be until Christmas 1993, when I was 8 years old, and I unwrapped my very own Mega Drive finally. I didn't have a console before that point. I had a Commodore 128 and a Game Boy, which I'd got a year before for my birthday. But this was the first time I owned an actual console. It was a Mega Drive 2 with the Sonic 2 pack-in game. And I was absolutely over the moon that I finally had my own Sega console with quite possibly my favourite game on it as well, Sonic 2. I absolutely loved Sonic 2, so to have my own copy was just beyond joyful. And even better than that, I unwrapped another present, and inside was a copy of Jurassic Park on the Mega Drive as well to go with my new console. And I was the biggest fan of Jurassic Park as a kid. And as it had come out that year, and I'd been to the cinema twice to see it. It was the first film I went to go see in the cinema, but unfortunately due to a little incident with it being a bit full, I ended up seeing Super Mario Brothers, but that's a story for another time. So it was Jurassic Park was my favourite film as a kid, so getting my favourite Sega game at the time, as well as getting Jurassic Park, which I'd never played. I had two games that were amazing to a little 8-year-old me. And I had this shiny new Mega Drive 2 as well to play on it. I didn't care that it wasn't a Mega Drive 1, which is what I was used to playing on. It was my own Mega Drive. It was Christmas, and you just can't beat that ecstatic feeling of getting that. And it's something that's just sadly not gonna happen ever again, if at all. But yeah, that is my most favourite Sega memory of all time, is just getting my first Sega console and two amazing Mega Drive games.
Hello, Tom here, founder of the Dreamcast Junkyard. James, aka the Segaholic, asked if I had a particular Sega-related Christmas memory I'd like to share with the listeners of Radio Sega's WinterFest, and you're in luck, because I do. Though I received a Mega Drive and then a Multi-Mega for Christmases in years prior, the most treasured memory I have is receiving a Sega Saturn for Christmas in 1996. It came with 6 games, and they were Sega Rally, Alien Trilogy, Virtua Fighter 2, Loaded, Thunderhawk 2 and Sega Worldwide Soccer 97. It also came with the official Sega steering wheel and should have come with 2 controllers, so me and my brother, could play 2-player games together. Alas, the second controller was missing, and so for the first week or so of ownership, one of us had to use the steering wheel as a controller, which certainly made games of Worldwide Soccer and Virtua Fighter 2 interesting. I did get the second controller a few weeks into January, but I'll never forget that interesting period trying to score goals with a steering wheel. Anyway, hope you have a very Merry Christmas wherever you are, and remember, to be this good takes ages, or Sega, or something.
Hello, fellow Sega guys and gals. It's Jason Madison here, aka Play Sushi UK, and I can't remember much about certain parts of my childhood, but in terms of what I remember Sega-wise, and for Christmas and everything, my fond memories of Sega at Christmas. Well, I wish it could have been the Dreamcast, but I got that for my birthday, Halloween 2000, just after I had an accident with my leg in an abandoned power station. Ripped it open, bit gory. Anyways, so I had the Super Nintendo in the mid-90s. That was my first home console, which my mum, single parent and everything, she got me that off her mate, Christmas 95, if I recall. I had a lot of the well-known games, my favourite being Donkey Kong Country. And then, just before, ready for Christmas 96, she sold my Super Nintendo and all my Transformer toys, which, God, I would really begrudge her doing that, given how much they're worth today. But yeah, so she got me the Mega Drive 2 for Christmas during 1996. From what I can recollect, I went downstairs, you know, there it was, Mega Drive 2. I'd already played Sonic at other people's houses before, you know, first time being on the black and white TV in a kid's shed. And so it's the Mega Drive 2. It came with a Sonic compilation that had Sonic 1 and 2 and also Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on it, if I recall. But the game that I actually did end up playing all of that morning, the other game that she got me was Streets of Rage 2, which is the game that I resonate with when it comes to the Mega Drive. It is my favourite Mega Drive game. I have a Mega Drive Mini just for Streets of Rage 2. I loved it. You know, my mum said I wanted to play on that all morning, just as Axel, doing uppercuts and everything. And she said I was obsessed with it. And you know, I've got a lot of fond memories playing that 2-player with, you know, other friends. I still play it to this day with one of my closest mates. You know, it's just a timeless game. And then after Christmas Day, with some of the Christmas money that I got, we went here in Lincoln. I went to my local second-hand video game store, which was Phoenix Games on Monks Road. God bless his soul. And I traded in some other bits that I had on the Game Boy, and I got RoboCop vs Terminator, because Terminator 2 is my favourite film. It still is my favourite film, and I ended up playing that loads as well. But yeah, I had a really good time in the Mega Drive, you know, around Christmas. I really wanted a Saturn as a kid as well, but a year later, you know, I didn't have the Mega Drive that long, you see. A year later, for Christmas '97, my mum then sold my Mega Drive and everything, and some other bits, and my Game Boy, and got me the PS1. And the rest is history. Over and out. And Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope you get what you want. And I hope you eat loads of food as well. Cheers. Bye-bye.
This is Retro Boy John, and this is my favourite Sega Christmas memory. Well, in fact, it's my first ever Sega Christmas memory. It was Christmas Day in the early 90s. Me and my siblings had finished opening our Christmas presents, but there was one large box left. My parents told us it was for the family, and we opened it to find a Sega Mega Drive. It was so unexpected. We weren't the richest family. Our only other games console actually up to this point was a television of all things. So this was like a quantum leap forward. Like so many other people, we started with Mega Games 1 and 2. So the first Mega Drive games I ever played were Golden Axe, Streets of Rage and Revenge of Shinobi. And there's still 3 of my favourite games on the system to this day. It changed how I viewed what games could be. It sent me on an entirely different course in my life, so it's such a seminal moment. What was funny though was a while before Christmas, my dad had come into my bedroom one morning when I was getting ready for school, and he randomly asked me which was better, a Sega Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo. Now, I actually hadn't played either and didn't really know, and I said Sega, based purely on the fact that I preferred the colour black. It didn't click he was fishing for ideas for Christmas, and to think the whole reason I ended up a massive Sega fan and all those memories and love for those games, turns out it was all because one morning when I was putting on my school tie, I decided the colour black was kind of cool.
Hi there, it's Faith Johnson here, aka Retro Faith, and I'm going to be telling you a little Christmas memory to celebrate the Sega guys' Christmas showdown. And when I first heard about this, I jotted down I must do one of that for the guys, and I was going to do a really basic one of me getting a Mega Drive in 1991 for Christmas with the Sonic pack and all that sort of stuff, and Mega Games 1, but I thought, you know what, that's not particularly interesting. I've told that story on numerous podcasts. Let's do a different story, still to do with Sonic and Sega, obviously, but this one is when I end up on the naughty side of Santa's list, and it was back in Christmas 1996 when a certain game called Sonic 3D Flicky's Island came out, or Sonic 3D Blast if you're in North America, and my parents asked me what I'd want for Christmas, and I said I'd want that. For some reason, I don't know why I said I want the Mega Drive one, not the Saturn one. I'm just trying to think of the details. I mean, we definitely had a Saturn because we had Virtua Cop, but anyway. Now, back then, when you were a little kid, do you remember when you used to have lots of presents under the tree? and they're all wrapped up, and you knew you couldn't open them till Christmas Day, and there'd be things there from family and whatnot, and you'd sort of like rattle them and feel them around and that. And I knew full well with this present under the tree that this was a Mega Drive box, because I knew the weight, I knew that I could like tap it with my knuckles, and I knew what it was, so I knew I had my Sonic 3D game coming. Now, back in those days, my older brother, and he'll hate me for saying this because he's actually a top bloke, but he was really, really good at opening up the presents under the tree without disturbing the wrapping paper. And he knew straight away that, you know, he was saying, why don't we open up your Mega Drive game so we can play it, and then we'll just wrap it back up before parents get home, or whatever the story was. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll give it a go. So he expertly unwrapped it, and we sat there, and I'm a very good video games player. I used to play to a very high standard, and I knew full well I was going to smash this Sonic game, so I did. I sat and completed the whole thing on the day with all the Chaos Emeralds and all the levels and whatnot, and then we dutifully wrapped it all back up again, thinking, oh, haven't we been good? We've managed to play the game early. Now, obviously then, because we did this sort of thing every single year, because we were pretty naughty children, we knew on Christmas Day we have to just act all surprised. Now, I think, looking back on it now, obviously this is many, many years later, I think my mum had realised that we'd opened up some of the presents. So when I opened up my present, thinking, oh brilliant, that's going to be my Sonic game, and I got to act all surprised and thankful, it was actually do you remember those old selection boxes you used to get? You know, where you had like 4 or 5 sweets, and this was like you used to get very small ones as well. They only had like maybe like things like fudges and a mini curly whirly and buttons and things in it. So it was one of those, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not my Sonic game. Like, okay, what's happened here? So my mum basically pulled a bit of a fast one, and I was thinking like, oh well, where's like, you know, my actual present and stuff. And then after dinner, my mum brought out the real presents and gave them to us and said, oh, there you are, and it had been re-wrapped back up in different wrapping paper. So maybe my mum was just being nice because she knew that we'd probably opened the presents early and was trying to get one over on us. But anyway, that's my story from Christmas 1996. Merry Christmas to all of the Sega guys followers, and we'll have a really, really good Sega Sega New Year going forward into 2024. So thank you very much. Enjoy your Christmases. Bye bye for now.
So I think my greatest Sega memory was the Christmas of 93 or 94. It was when my parents had brought home the Sega Genesis bundle that had Streets of Rage 2 and Sonic 2. And I remember just fighting with my brothers and sisters about playing that. And when I tell you we played that thing non-stop forever. But it was so funny because we were kind of, before we got it, we were at friend's house to go game, and all they had was an SNES, and our parents was like, no, you're at your friend's house too much, we're gonna go get you one. And then they get us the Genesis, and it changed my life, man. And then, you know, from there, and we built it all out from there. It was like Sega CD, then 32X. I think those years and that specific Christmas of 93, 94 is the reason I'm still a gamer today. So for me, that has to be the top.
Hello fellow Sega fans out there, my name is Martin and I'm gonna tell you about my favorite Sega Christmas memory. I remember the first time when I saw Shenmue in an import gaming store in 1999. But sadly the Japanese version was of course unplayable for me because of the language barrier. So I was very excited when I got the PAL version for Christmas 2000. Not only were the graphics and the gameplay awesome for the time, but one little thing made the game even greater for me. Cause Shenmue's story begins on a snowy day in late November. and it has a day and night cycle. And when I first played the game, it was slowly moving towards December. So it was in real time December and in the game December. This was very immersive. So almost every December I play Shenmue from the beginning, and I remember Christmas 2000. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. Happy gaming everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Hey there Sega guys, Stewie for Stewie's Retro Gaming here. Just want to share a wee memory with you guys for the Sega event. This is the one that really came to mind was my Sega Saturn experience, where I saw it for the first time in a retro shop in Partick, and unfortunately I think James might know what the name of the shop, but I cannot remember it for the death of me. It was on Byers Road, and it was a fantastic wee haven for us retro guys, and I saw it playing for the first time in there. I think it was just after the release date I think it was in '95, and it took my breath away. Seeing Virtual Fighter running on that machine, I was like, I have got to hound my parents to get this for my Christmas. And did I not just give them the most hassle in the world for months and months, begging them to get this thing for Christmas. And sure enough, I actually did receive the machine in the box on Christmas Day with I think it was Daytona and Daytona and Virtua Fighter packaged in the deal, and I was absolutely delighted. I could not believe that I had these two arcade classics in my hands, ready to go on my TV in the house. I was honestly, I just could not contain myself. I was going absolutely mental running about the house. It was like something out of one of those skits you see in the telly. Honestly, I was amazing, absolutely amazing. And to this day, I still play those games, and they are, I mean, as much as folks say that Daytona, they might not like it, but I absolutely love Daytona USA. It is brilliant. It feels, to me anyway, it feels exactly like I'm sitting in that seat in the arcade, and it's doing that roll and start, and away it goes. And honestly, oh wow, absolutely mental. And Virtual Fighter as well. Again, it might not, as I said, when you compare it to the arcade, it might look no arcade, but it was arcade perfect to me. Sitting in that living room, I don't think I moved for like 14 hours. I think I was just sitting there, just absolutely glued. Nobody could use the machine. It's just such a great memory, and I will love the machine to this day. And I'm so glad to have, in my collection, and a few of those top titles still with me in my collection as well. I'm always on the hunt for more though. I just thought I'd share that wee one with you guys, and I really hope you have a great show. And thanks very much for including me in your wee list of people to add in, and you have a great Christmas along with everybody else that's listening. Take care of yourselves, folks, and happy gaming to you all. Bye for now.
Hello, my name's John, the Goomba Gamer. I actually have two Sega Christmas memories to share. The first is back in 1992, and I was just a little kid, and I remember getting Sonic 2 for Christmas that year. And I very excitedly ran down to the basement where my Genesis was and popped that sucker in and basically played until the family came over for Christmas dinner. It was awesome. My second memory is when I was just becoming an adult and the Christmas the Dreamcast launch. Now, I actually bought it when it came out in September of 1999, but the Dreamcast came with me to college, where I made friends I've kept to this day. And I remember hooking it up in the computer lab that we all worked in. We put it on a big projector, and I remember ringing in the new year with all my friends, playing Soul Calibur and Power Stone 4-player, and hoping the Y2K bug wouldn't kill us all. And that's my Sega Christmas. Thanks, guys.
So my Sega Christmas memory is actually more of a Sega Christmas confession, and I've been carrying this around in my conscience for well over 30 years now. But it's Christmas 1992, and if you owned a Mega Drive at the time, which I did, there was really only one game on everyone's lips that Christmas, which of course was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Like most kids at the time, I was really excited to get Sonic 2, and I was also a little bit concerned that they might sell out. So on release date, I convinced my mum that she needs to go and head down to Woolies and secure my copy. She gets back and I'm like, did you get it? Did you get it? And I'm really excited. To which she would neither confirm nor deny. But I knew that meant that she'd definitely got it. You know, there wasn't any concern on her face at all. Now, obviously there's about a month between the aptly named Sonic Tuesday, which I think was 24th of November that year, and Christmas Day. And that just proved agonising. You know, I'd watched my Mean Machine Sega Sonic 2 preview videotape probably about 100 times by that point, which is also the reason why I find the soundtrack to Tasmania on Game Gear so triggering. As a side note, if you've not heard it, go and check it out. It's one of the most truly awful things you'll ever hear. But honestly, yeah, I can't tell you how excited I was to play Sonic 2 that Christmas. So what I did next, I'm not all that proud of, but every time my dad was at work or my mum went shopping, I'd sneak into their room, I'd find the poorly hidden game, and I'd play a little. And then I'd play a little bit more next time we went out, and a little bit more. The Sega publications at the time had already printed the level select sheet, so I could quickly access the later levels without having to redo them again. So yeah, I'd experienced a lot of Sonic 2. So of course, Christmas morning arrives, and you know I'm putting in an Oscar-nominated performance to my parents. You know, like, oh my god, I can't wait to play this, and oh, this is going to be amazing. But the reality of the matter was, I'd already completed Sonic 2 before I'd even taken off the wrapping paper. Do I regret it? No, not one bit. You know, I was just as excited on Christmas Day to play the game legitimately, properly explore the levels, and you know, attempt to unlock Super Sonic. And I will say that I do still find the special stages on Sonic 2 some of the hardest in the series. That might just be me, but I just really struggled with them. But yeah, 1992 Christmas was hands down on my favourite Christmases growing up.
Hey guys, I'm Resident SD, host of Late and Live and Long Play, as well as the admin for Terra Player, the premier way to listen to the Sega guys in audio form, if I do say so myself. Now, I'm in awe of Dan and James for how well they remember Sega-related events from their past, because these days I remember so little from when I was younger. However, in terms of Sega-related Christmas memories, I can think of two. The first was the anticipation and excitement of getting Mortal Kombat 2 for the Mega Drive, as I asked my nan and grandad for the game as a Christmas present in 1994. The content of the game should have been the big ask for 11-year-old me, but really it was the massive £60 asking price at the time. Thankfully, I was lucky enough to get the game as asked, and I absolutely loved it. However, the best memory was Christmas of 1991, I'm guessing. I had a Commodore 64 at the time, my Amiga 600 would come later, but Sonic was now a thing, and I really wanted a Mega Drive to be able to play this exciting new game. So obviously I asked for a Mega Drive for Christmas that year, but you never really know if you'll get the presents you ask for till you open the wrapping on Christmas morning. But I managed to get an early sneak peek, literally. I don't remember why I was in my parents' bedroom, or if I was even allowed to be in there, but for some reason, I looked underneath my parents' bed, and there it was, in its black and grey checkerboard glory, the Mega Drive box with Sonic the Hedgehog bundled in. As all kids did back in the early 90s, you studied everything about the games and gaming equipment you had, the console itself, the manuals, the posters, and the box. I got a head start, however briefly, on that last one. Thank you both for the amazing content you put out seemingly on a daily basis these days, and I hope you and everyone listening has a fantastic Christmas and a Sega-filled New Year. Happy Winterfest, everybody.
Hey guys, Patrick here from Sega Saturn Shiro, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about my Sega Christmas memories. So, one of my favorite ones was when I was younger. I remember my first console was a Sega Pico, and I had the Game Gear, and I always wanted to get like a Sega console, and I don't remember if I really had interest because this was like almost 20 something plus years ago. But I remember the Dreamcast coming out, and I thought it was interesting. Had some cool games, and then, you know, I didn't know anything about if I was getting one or not. And then one Christmas Day, I actually, you know, opened all my presents, and I got a Sega Dreamcast with House of the Dead 2 and Sonic Adventure 1. And yeah, it was, I think, Christmas '99, and yeah, I fell in love instantly. I must have played like almost 300 plus hours of each game of that going out, and I just love the Dreamcast. It's one of my favorite consoles of all time, and I just really enjoyed it. And I had great memories. I think I talked about it with somebody else, but I loved playing it on Christmas with my grandma. You know, playing some House of the Dead with my grandma. She loved it. Big House of the Dead fan. No, I'm just joking, but she actually did play it with me. That one and like Sonic Adventure, and she kind of enjoyed it. You know, she was like, you know, humoring me. You know, just trying to see what my interests are, but. Yeah, I had a lot of good interests back then with that, and I had a really great time playing Dreamcast with her, so I think that's probably my favorite Christmas memory about Sega. At least I think so. I do ask that if you did listen to the story, go back and redo it, but put on Wham's Last Christmas. You do an 8-bit variation, you know, it'd be funny to me if you, like, you know, just made people lose Wham again. I don't know, to me that'd be kind of funny, so, yeah, later guys, much love.
Hey everyone, Saturn Dave from Sega Saturn Shiro, and I'm here to tell you about my favorite Sega Christmas memory. While I'm a huge Saturn fan and an even bigger Nights into Dreams fan, you might think that it would be Christmas Nights. And while that does rank very high on my list, I love playing that every year, and we're so lucky that we got that as a little Christmas gift from Sonic Team. I'm going to go with something more obscure, something a little more personal, and that would be getting Enemy Zero for Christmas of 1997. The story goes all the way back to 96, actually. I was a latecomer to Saturn. I found out about it at the tail end of 96. Daytona and Nights were the games that got me into it. Over the year of 97, I noticed that retailers were not carrying Saturn. They were not supporting Saturn anymore. And in fact, the electronics boutique in the mall, which I would visit religiously, they had started relegating what Saturn stuff they had to the very back of the store, all the way on the bottom shelf. And it would just dwindle over the course of that year, 97. In the meantime, I did everything I could to play the Saturn, to experience its games, either by checking them out from the library or renting them from Blockbuster or buying them if I could scrape the money together with what little allowance I had. And when I went to Electronics Boutique in the summer, I saw this game called Enemy Zero. I noticed it was very heavy. It was a heavy game, substantial, because it was 4 discs, and they wanted like $70 to $80 for it. I was like, seriously? But the art looked crazy. The box art looked cool. You had Laura on the front. You had these awesome screenshots and this cool synopsis about this enemy you can't see, and it was a mature title, so obviously as a 15 or 16 year old, I was, you know, there was appeal there for sure. Though my parents probably weren't going to get me this game, and I thought maybe I'll ask my cool uncle to get it for me, you know, because there's no way I'm ever going to be able to afford a $70 to $80 game. So I asked my uncle Mike. I was like, Mike, can you get me this game? I'm pretty sure that it's still going to be at EB, because I'd gone back there several times and the game was always there. Like, you know, maybe somebody picked it up and looked at it, but they put it back. So I took it and I squirreled it away on the bottom right hand corner, and I kind of stuck some other stuff in front of it, hoping that nobody would notice, you know. And I told my uncle where it would be. And I just crossed my fingers and hoped, you know. Christmas rolled around, Christmas 97 rolled around, and he handed me this heavy rectangular package, and I knew exactly what it was. I opened it up, and it was Enemy Zero, and he said it was exactly where you said it was, where you said it would be. You know, nobody bought it, which is both awesome and sad. You know, but that's what it was like being a Saturn fan in the, you know, 97, 98. You know, it was a crazy time. But anyway, we took that game, my brother and I, my little brother and I, we went upstairs and we played that game until really late at night. You know, we turned off the lights and we were like 2 feet away from the monitor. You had the jump scares, you had the FMV cinematics, you had, you know, blood splattering everywhere. Enemy you can't see, so you're dying constantly. Definitely had like those, the alien kind of vibes to it, you know, with the pinging in your ear. I have become such a fan of Kenji Eno and his games. Subsequently went back and played D and D2 on the Dreamcast, and I still have my copy of Enemy Zero to this day. Absolutely love the game. some people find it frustrating, but again, maybe I look at it with rose-colored glasses to a degree, just because of that nostalgia that I have. But I think it's phenomenal, and I'll always remember, playing Enemy Zero on Christmas with my little brother. And it was a crazy time to be alive, and a wonderful Christmas memory. And this has been Saturn Day from Shiro, reminding you that you must play your Sega Saturn. And from everyone at Shiro, happy holidays. Cheers.
Wonderful stuff. So thank you absolutely everyone who recorded a memory for us. Really appreciate it, and hope you viewers and listeners have enjoyed that as well, to really get us into the festive spirit as we close out the show. But mate, I think since this is the last podcast of the year, it's probably just worth reflecting on 2023. So this has been our first full year on YouTube.
Yep.
Came onto YouTube in
October
last year.
Yep.
Started the year with 60 something subscribers, I think we had, and I think we set ourselves a goal to 1,000. And what has happened has kind of blown both of our minds, I think it's fair to say, and I don't think we could be more grateful to everyone who has supported us, watched us, subscribed to us, engaged with us in any way. It's just been absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's humbling. As I says to you this week, I'd put the tweet out about the fact that, if you told us a year ago that we would, not just work with but strike up friendships with Saturn Dave, Pat, Panda, Dan Thrax, Sega Lord X, people like that, I would have laughed at you. Where we're at now, well, it's just the beginning for us. We never thought we would ever get to this kind of we still, as I say, we look inwards, we just think and that's all we are, is just two guys who talk about Sega. We're just two older guys who talk about Sega and what it was like growing up with them. And for some reason it resonates. And as I said, that reply that Carl Lavery put, he said that you're very much part of that kind of group now, the Shiro and Sega Lord X, and I still find that really mind-blowing that people would even think that, because these guys are people that we've looked up to for years. Like, before we even started the podcast, these are guys that we watched and listened to. So yeah, the journey we've been on, the work that we've put in, the content we've put out, we're so proud of it. But without you guys engaging with it, supporting us, sharing what we do, pushing us on whether it's X or comments on the YouTube channel, you guys bring it to life. We create it, but if no one's listening to it, you guys bring it to life. You engage with it. So yeah, where we are just now, we're heading towards 3,000 subscribers, in just over 1 year on YouTube. We've had over 390 days worth of time spent watching us on YouTube in a year. It's just mind-boggling, like 9,500 hours worth of time spent watching us. We launched the memberships. We thought we might get one or two. We've got 11 members as things stand. Again, amazing uptake on that. Couldn't be more grateful. So it's just insane, very humbling that people are investing their time in us and what we do. And we couldn't be more grateful and thankful for the support that we've had over the past year. We hope you've enjoyed it. And as I say, we're only getting started. We've got tons of stuff in the pipeline. The best is yet to come.
It is indeed, mate. Yeah, so it's amazing that we've got this relationship with Dave, and you did the podcast with Sega Lord X, and also to the guys at RadioSEGA for continuing to support us. Supported us while we were on our hiatus, kept it alive. As I say, this is our 4th WinterFest now. So it's friends on both sides of the Atlantic that we're really privileged to have.
Yeah.
And yeah, so as part of this episode, I think it's just to close out the year, it's just a massive thank you to everyone that supported us in any way. It means so much to us, and we never thought that we'd grow this much in the space of a year. From 2 years ago, we were worried that we weren't going to be able to record enough podcasts. Now we've got podcasts in the bank for next year. We've got video content in addition to it, and the response to it has been so overwhelmingly humbling. It's incredible. So thank you. And 2024 is going to bring some very special stuff indeed.
Yep. And just to kind of close out what you said there about Radio Sega as well. You know, that Viper reached out to us, and don't forget, whenever we finished off, we were finished. It wasn't meant to be a hiatus. We were finished because we couldn't find the time. And Viper reached out and kindly offered to keep it alive. He thought the content that we had at that point, here audio podcasts only, was worth kind of archiving, so to speak. And he kindly offered to host it on the Radio Sega server. But you know, you've got guys like 20, you've got obviously KC, Resident SD, the guy who I'm sending links to new episodes through with like an hour to spare sometimes. Sorry, mate. Just the support for those guys has been amazing. They've been with us since day one. They took us on in their infancy, and here we are, 4 WinterFest later. So, no, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. So I think that brings us nicely to the end of this episode, the last podcast of the year. I hope you've enjoyed it. Get in touch. Hopefully we've been chatting through the live chat and in Radio Sega Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like or a comment. If you want to talk to us through the comment section, just, you know, give us your Christmas memories. Let us know what you're going to be playing over Christmas. We'd love to know. If you really want to support us, you know, think about becoming a member. It starts from just 99p. But if you don't want to become a member, that's absolutely fine. As you say, anything that you do, if you're just watching us, that's helping us a lot, and we really do appreciate it. And James, speaking of members, if you could just let us know who our premium members are today.
Certainly can, because my word, since the last time we've gained a few. So our premium members, we have I Am Mikowski, we have Stiff Peaks, we have G-Man, we have Sega Saturn Lad, and we have Andy Mackey. So again, guys, thank you so much, and thank you to all our members and subscribers for your support.
And thank you guys for watching and listening wherever you are in the world. Hope you have a great Christmas, and we will see you on the Sega side.
Sega!